commercial fishing across Alberta was shut down in 2014. At that time, the minister committed to fair compensation. Now, this government has changed from compensation to goodwill payments, which are only about a third of the previous compensation discussed. This government is giving billions of dollars to coal generators to shut down. Do you feel what you're doing is fair to commercial fishers?
Minister of Environment and Parks.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And of course, our government took swift action to protect our fish population from whirling disease. Mr. Speaker, the day after whirling disease was detected in Banff National Park by the federal government, we signed a ministerial order outlining our three-point action plan to educate Albertans. And in order to expedite communication with key stakeholders, including commercial fishery operations, Mr. Speaker, we formed a whirling disease committee that had been disbanded by the Wild Roses' new dance partner, Mr. Speaker. And so we are investing, and we will have more to say about the commercial fishery in the supplementals. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Given that I'm talking about the 2015 commercial fisheries shutdown, not the 2017 whirling disease issue, given that much of the commercial fishery is conducted by Indigenous and Métis individuals and companies, and since these communities need jobs and is an important income employment source for many Indigenous families, not to mention to help diversify the economy, something this government talks about all the time, and given that government is at least giving lip service to communities that are affected by the coal phase-out, so what has this government done to help these families and communities?
The Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And of course, with the commercial fishery, we have discussed the ex gratia payments, and I am advised by the Minister of Indigenous Relations that Indigenous communities support these ex gratia payments, and those arrangements are now concluded, Mr. Speaker. We have worked hard with those communities to ensure that that structure is relevant and fair to all parties involved. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Given that to this day the Minister of Environment and Parks has not met with the commercial fishers, and since this is not surprising based on this government's record with consultation, will the minister extend the deadline for commercial fishers to accept payouts beyond the June 15 deadline and commit today to meet with an industry that is clearly under her mandate and deeply affected by government policy, yes or no?
Yes. Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And of course, the decision to close the commercial fishery came as a result of decisions made by the PC Environment Minister, Mr. Speaker. So the member may want to bring this matter up at the next Unite the Right meeting. However, Mr. Speaker, we will take the matter under advisement, and we will ensure that all parties are treated fairly through the ex gratia payment process and through subsequent processes for rural economic development in our province, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.